Hi, Inge.
Hi.
You have sent me a week ago a topic on which you want to talk.
That's correct.
And you just told me that you already forgot what it was, and that's why you also happened to me. So what you sent to me was the following. You want to talk about information presenters that are not free, and connected with that, when information can become a negative instead of a positive. And perhaps I can immediately then ask some questions about this, well, about the first part, like this information presenters that are not free, like information presenters. You don't say like people or humans. Is it because you don't want to restrict to only that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because that is tied to images. I'm trying to keep it as wide open as possible. So whatever presents information, it could be a human being, it could be an animal. Even some people have experiences with insects. So to be wide open, respect and acceptance, appreciation for all beings involved in communication. That's what I wanted to be open for. Of course, most experiences will be with just other people who happen, especially people who happen to work in a spiritual field or have their interest there. Some people say spiritual workers. Some people say light workers. Some people say energy workers. I use energy worker for myself because everything to me, how I experience it, is just energy in different forms.
Did you also mean, because that was what I was thinking of, like things like entities or guides or whatever, who also give you information?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
they can be included.
And like what I would expect if somebody else would have said it is like information that is incorrect, but you actually do it in two parts, because you talk about information from something that is not free, and then perhaps as a consequence, I think, that it can be incorrect or negative.
Can be. Doesn't have to be, but can be. And that is where we really have to pay attention. The first clue is when a bringer of information is not free, you have to look at their source. What are they tied to? Where do they get their information from? It could be, we'll just use examples, okay? We don't want to pick
because can you give an example of not free?
Not being free is, let's say I've decided to work or made an agreement or a contract with a specific department, invisible departments. So then we're looking at, are we going to talk and use the word aliens? Or are we going to use the words intellectual energies? Or are we going to use the word entities? Let's be broad, non-specific. We're talking about anything that has an intellect. Okay, let's say I make a contract. Everyone and everything besides outside of the eternal has a type of bias because it's very, yeah, point of reference. How many points of references do they have? Which point of view do they have? So there will always be a little bit of a bias, you see, especially.
Can you give a very concrete, like very down-to-earth example?
Down-to-earth example.
As down-to-earth as possible.
Okay, let's take a human being then. Okay, a human being who channels. Okay, when someone channels, let's say a medium, and they go into the spirit world, They make an agreement with the spirit that they make contact with. But that spirit may or may not be who they say they are, like someone's father, someone's mother. Okay? They're not free because it's not their information. It's from a layer and a layer and a layer after original creation. Another example, you have an energy worker. They make a contract with a powerful group of beings. People are very familiar with reptilians. You make a contract. They say, we're going to give you this information. Then unconsciously, there are programs. Unconsciously, they're flattering you. Then we will make sure that you're special. You will be heard. Also, this is the way you can help humanity. But you have to work for us. You have to bring the information as we present it to you. That person is not free.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have accepted conditions from a creation, by a creation, by a creation. Okay. Then you could be associated, let's say, with what is more familiar? Pleiadian. What is their agenda? That's what I mean by I'm not free. You present information as truth by those who you are connected with.
Well, now that you mentioned
contract,
these examples,
if you've got a contract with them, so you have a commitment to work for them, okay, that information could be tainted. What is the true motivation? Is this your motivation? Or is there an agenda that they have led you to believe is also your motivation to help the greater good?
So now that you mention all these examples, like, is there actually any information which is free?
Yes.
There is. And
yes.
like, is it in large numbers, or is most information that comes like that not free?
No. The only source of clean information is the creator, which the creator is very big. The greater consciousness is also the same as the creator. But what happens when you go to the concept consciousness, which part of the creator are you connecting with? The creator who created all. Okay, we have a limit. Our brains have a limit. We can understand so far. So then my point of reference is the original creator. Beyond the original creator, or God, if you want to use the word God, or some people like greater consciousness, that's where my point of reference is from for free information that belongs to everyone. It belongs to everyone because we are part of consciousness. So there's no ownership and there's no second agenda and no hidden agenda. Okay. So since consciousness is not competing with consciousness, that's the reason why there's no second agenda. But if you get a creation lower than the original creator, they can become, because not all, they can become a little bit arrogant, or they don't understand, and then they want to be equal to, or believe that they are the original creator, the beginning.
Mhm.
There are many beings that don't realize that they are not the original, they are not the beginning. There's only one beginning and end and beginning again.
So like it sounds like the concept of ego, or like if you can say it like that, is up and is up there too, or whatever.
Well, ego is more a human issue. If you go
That's
into the
deviating.
departments, then it's more of a perception or a decision that they made. You see? Then we could get really specific. Okay, most people have heard about the strands of DNA, right?
Mhm.
And that it originally humankind was supposed to have 12 strands.
Mhm.
Okay. There are more sections, actually 18, but they're not, the structure isn't like the DNA that we're familiar with, but it is connected and works like DNA. Anything that does not have the additional 6 will have a very hard time understanding that they're not at the top. But it's not ego, it is thus a belief. They do not understand that they're not at the top. Then you have departments. They have their intellect is, you can't measure it compared to ours. It's so great. But they don't want change. They like things the way they are. Somehow they are able to thrive on strong emotions of humankind. They don't want to shift. They don't want to change, just like people don't want to change. They fear losing the status of existence.
Mhm.
This is also where humankind has a great capacity for compassion. They fear not existing because they look at change or transformation or evolving as no longer existing. It's not true. The reason people fear death, for example, is because they fear the unknown. They also fear not existing anymore. We continue to exist, just in a different form, but
Mhm.
it doesn't feel right in the brain
Yeah.
because the brain is organic.
I don't know if we are perhaps deviating too much from the topic, but let me try to steer you back into what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So like information presenters that are not free, and you mentioned channelers, huh?
Mhm.
So you can talk about it like generically, or we can also talk about like an example, perhaps an explicit example. But if you don't want to, then let's.
I'd rather not go specific example, but and too generic is also not good because not all people who channel should be considered not free.
Mhm.
They're not completely free at the moment, but there are energy workers that actually work with invisibles, entities, energies, intellectual energies, aliens, if you
Mhm.
want to use the word, and they have like contracts.
Mhm.
I supply you with information, and this is the way you're going to help life on Earth,
So like
humankind. They'll say
then
this.
the information is not free, but perhaps there's no problem with the information.
Some of that information could be very correct,
Mhm.
but it will never be to bring people to a point where they are aware of something that's even greater than the department that's feeding them information, right? Because
Mhm.
let's say there's department 1 and they give you information that is also good for you. good for life on Earth. And all of a sudden you become aware of Department 2. Well, what do they have to say? How can they help with development? Do you understand what I'm saying? No, you have to stay with the information from Department 1. But that information could have a second agenda, and the agenda is that they are viewed as being on top.
Okay.
Because if you expand your awareness and your consciousness, you're going to say, hey, we don't have to be like you're telling us to be. We could know more.
Mm-hmm.
That's why only the original creator will offer information that leaves you free. How difficult is? Probably very difficult. But
Okay.
as long as you are aware, you will end up developing towards being able to sense it.
I mean, I
Not,
would be very sorry.
no, what did you say?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because like I'm getting very curious, and I'm not going to ask it, but like I like to listen to certain channelers, so like or read of certain channelers, and then like okay, the information well resonates with me and is good, but like which one of these does have a hidden agenda? This kind of thing. That's what then puzzles me. Like,
Then you have to look at their source. If they're channeling, just ask them, who's giving you the information?
mhm.
You see? And
I
again,
mean,
the
most of them it's
information
clear.
could be solid. It's solid, it's good, it's correct, but it will never be complete.
Mhm.
And then we have to look at, well, are we as humankind ready to have complete information? I don't think so.
Mhm.
There's technologies here on Earth that is being completely used in a very scary way. All that's important is that you are aware that when you hear a channeling, it is from a specific source.
Mhm.
Take a look. Where are they getting this information from? And of course, you can learn from them. And
Can
of
you
course, it will be good information to start. But it sort of is like how you explain and speak with a 5-year-old is very different than, let's say, with somebody who's 27.
could you also like see it like this? So this information comes from various sources, like these channels. Most of the time, it's clear whom they're channeling, or at least whom they claim to be channeling. And but like where the level where humanity is right now, it's good information. I mean, if humanity perhaps evolves at some point, like some of these would not be able to give like the best information anymore. Could you see it like that?
You could, but the whole point for energy workers, light workers, channelers, etc., to bring their information, it is to make people aware. The awareness should trigger a desire to search within themselves the way that they can best make a connection themselves. So that's how I look at people who speak, even at myself. I'm just trying to bring more awareness. This is my way. This is how I see it. Does it feel like a good fit? Okay, take a look at what I've had. Take a look at what I'm trying to say. Feel it. Then maybe in a few months you'll outgrow my way of bringing information, and then you can go to some channelers that have along uh, been around for quite a while, or that are more commercial, so they're more visible to the rest of the world. But even people like me, who everything
Mhm.
it's mom and pop, just very, very real, they have something to offer. But it could be that you'll outgrow someone like me really quickly, and you'll move on to more commercial, because hopefully by then you've learned to filter information. By filtering, I mean, what is a good fit for me? What is truth? What is not exactly true? Or what is not complete? The most important one really is what is not complete. Because you can find fault with anything that a human being brings to earth. The most important thing is what information is missing. Let me walk along for a while. And then when this becomes, it slows down in your system as new, then perhaps you go look at someone else. I advise people, go broad. Don't just stay with just one source. And always remember, look for the encouragement to start finding the capacity to make those connections yourself. That should always be the intentions. You bring awareness to wake something up in someone so they go looking for themselves. Because until each person experiences this information by themselves, on their own power, it's still only theory. It only becomes real when people are able to experience it for themselves.
Okay. So actually, you sort of went towards like information becoming a negative instead of a positive. And actually, you mentioned like that you have to learn how to filter.
Yes.
Okay. How to filter, Inge?
How to filter. Yeah, it's the how to is always
Yes.
complicated. I'll try to say it briefly, but I tell you, for most people, it's practice, practice, practice. The easiest way, and at the same time, it's the hardest way, it's to know yourself. Once you find truth within yourself, you'll also be able to experience the vibration of truth. Truth always has the same vibration.
Okay, I'm gonna slow you down. Huh?
Okay.
Because you say like to find truth within myself. It probably is completely clear to you what you mean.
Yeah.
Now somebody's watching you. What do you mean?
What do I mean? Okay. We'll start from when you're first conceived. Okay? That's genetic, cellular level. Then you grow into a baby. By the time you're fully developed and ready to be born, you've already had outside information that has entered your system through your mother immediately because of her rhythm, her chemistry. Then, when ears develop through hearing, temperature changes, all those things, you've already been exposed to outside information. Okay. Then you're born, and then your parents help you to learn good manners. Perhaps they help you with finding an identity. What are you like? Are you hyper? Are you relaxed? Are you a bookworm? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Okay. Parents or outside environment has an effect on all of these things. Then you go through preschool, kindergarten, blah, 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 and then you're out on your own. By the time that you're out on your own in your 20s, you've formed a picture of yourself, what you are. Many people don't start looking till later in life when they've retired, so they have time to actually reflect. What am I really? Most people start looking at what have I done? You are not what you've done. You are not what you've said. It's only a small part of you. Knowing the truth from inside, an inside look, neutral perspective, that's your truth. Inside, you'll find a loving person. Inside, you might also find, with the right triggers, right situation, a vindictive person. Then there might be a person who has secrets, doesn't have secrets, regrets. All of that is you. Knowing the truth, accepting the truth, appreciating it, nurturing the truth within yourself means embracing all that you are, whether your intellectual system approves of it or not. Appreciation, respect, acknowledgement for everything you are, that's truth.
Mm-hmm.
Anything less is only a partial truth, which then you could interpret as a lie. Right? Because when you present yourself and you say, I'm a teacher, and you don't say anything else, you don't mention that you're a father, you're a life partner, or a mother, there's information that remains hidden for the other party that you're communicating with.
So if I try to summarize it in my own words,
Yes.
you can tell me like if it's correct or not. Like truth within yourself is like just the you which exists inside of you. So not like the you which you think you are out of the things that you can do or that you have done, or yeah. Okay. I think this is an excellent topic to at some point get back to, but perhaps now, like, I mean, I think that you only scratched the surface, I think. Huh?
Yes. I actually, it feels right now that this probably would be helpful to people in a question answer form. If the group's not too big, and people aren't shy, or maybe we can figure out a way that people can send in questions anonymously during ascending. I think they call it live stream, not sure. So
We'll
that,
figure something out.
Yeah, something like that. But I think a lot of people have questions about what is my truth. They have questions about who am I, or what am I,
or how to find your own truth.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Let's park this for now.
Okay.
And then let's get back to it at some point. Okay, so you mentioned like the best way is to find truth within yourself, and with that, see if like whatever you hear resonates with your own truth.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little further? What does it mean, resonate with your own truth?
Well, okay, I'll explain what it means to me, because for resonates to a lot of people means feels good, and I can identify with it. I'm going to be more specific. The picture you have of yourself has a vibration, a frequency. So the whole idea is when you find and accept your complete truth without judgment, that's also very important. No value judgment, just complete respect, acceptance. You'll have a vibration. Then when you experience that vibration, you can use that as you start growing, doing research, trying out different philosophies. And when you find that vibration, the odds are that is also truth. That is the most secure way. But that most people don't select that way. Most people look for evidence. And unfortunately, they don't look for evidence to support. People are designed to look for evidence to negate that what is being said. You see? And that takes up a huge amount of time. And if you're not free to spend a lot of time doing research, then I don't know if that system works. But this system is free, doesn't cost money, it does cost effort and time. You find that vibration of truth. Once you have that, then if you find that vibration outside of yourself, then it's a pretty good indication. It rings true.
Mm.
I don't know very much, but a lot of times, if I hear somebody and I listen, then I'm pretty quick at, okay, most of this is true. All of it's true, except it's not complete. Oh, there's some small inaccuracies, but that comes with practice. But it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to go to a workshop. You know, you
Mhm.
can do this in between uh, as you live your life. Just moments of contemplation. Look inside yourself.
Okay, so let's assume then for a moment, like that you've trained this, how do you say, sense, if you can call it like that, to sort of sense if something resonates with your truth or resonates with you. I don't know, like what would be the best way to say it. And okay, and now I'm reading or listening to some information, and so how does it, like, okay, so let me become a little bit personal, and like how it was for me. Like sometimes I read or listen to something and then I get this idea like, there's an itch somewhere. I don't know exactly what, but something is bothering me, like, and then later on I might even be able to find out like something concrete. Like, for example, he says it in such a way that, yeah, that I don't believe it, or like that he mentions stuff that I think, hey, but that's like just physically impossible or whatever, huh? So, but then it's like from the actual words that I hear. So it's, and then it's not from like that I have a pure vibration, or that like there's some bells are ringing or whatever, even though like something sounds very sane.
Okay. Everybody feels things or experiences things differently. Some people see bright colors. Some people think or believe if they see a white light, yeah, that's truth. Some people are heavy on the intellect. With me, it's just a sense, and for everyone, it's different. It's not like you literally feel the vibration,
Mhm.
but it is a vibration, and you may experience it in a different way. Some people see, like I said, certain colors. I
Mhm.
remember a very dear friend. He tried so hard to see the colors of energy, and he just couldn't get it, but he could feel energy. So then we sort of invented a system. As we had our evenings together, we used to have group evenings, and everybody shared how they experienced life or they had questions. And we did energy movements, energy exercises. We'll reach a point, and I say, okay, remember this feeling, attach a color. So we did the opposite. Instead of someone seeing colors, attach a color. So
Mhm.
that he had an identifier for that. And then you have, of course, let's say blue, light blue, dark, ranging from light blue to dark blue, indicating how strong that vibration was coming through. But he had no other description. So then we sort of made up one, and it
Mhm.
worked. So it could be everyone, of course, should explore what are good memory tricks to say, oh yeah, I felt this before. He
Mhm.
picked colors. Another person could pick smells
Mhm.
or taste.
Yeah.
I know I'm being vague, but without having done energy exercise, it's kind of hard, I
Mhm.
guess. Didn't realize it. I'm realizing it now. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, like, um, and so now actually you touched another topic that you can spend the whole video on, like on the various ways of sensing things.
Yeah.
Like indeed, some people see colors, but then apparently something with the sense that they get is happening in their brains. But also
Yeah.
some people just know.
Yeah.
And like yeah, so this is a very interesting one. We definitely have to
Could
do
I
that.
just say something? Because a thought came through a couple minutes ago that I wanted to mention um, about something resonating.
Mhm.
Just because it's not a good fit today, don't judge it and say this is completely wrong. Put it on the shelf because that is someone else's truth. And it could be when you've grown or developed more or have more experience that all of a sudden, hey, I could fit this piece of the puzzle here in this picture, in your own picture. So, although we talk about filtering and truth, clean information, and resonate, just because something does not feel like a good fit, don't waste time judging it and saying immediately it's bad. Because maybe it's not. Just put it on the shelf. And maybe later you could look at it again. Of course, if it's an out and out lie, it's deceit, because you can get very deceitful, intentionally deceitful information, and you discover that that's what it is. Yeah, not only um, double check yourself, but then put it in another category, because you might meet someone who believes that that's their truth. You don't have to tell them, no, it's a lie, it's deceit, you know, it's not worth anything. But you could say, heads up, I took a look at it and it didn't really ring true for me. So be careful.
Mhm.
Don't come across too strong with judgment, because perhaps the person needs that experience to find their own truth.
So like what you actually mentioned now, if I rephrase it in my own words, it's like that even truths which are false actually can be beneficial to think that they are true for a while.
Yeah.
So like, yes, I start like this. The title "Life and Truth" starts to make sense actually. Then, I have a specific question, like perhaps, and then also like, is there a special reason why you want to talk about information presenters that are not free, and why information can become a negative instead of a positive?
Yes.
Do you want to share that reason?
Oh,
I don't.
yeah, sure. Um, you know, I've been doing this for a few years, not that long. Some people have done this all their life. I started being very conscious about the energetic world, maybe when right around the age of 40 that I paid attention and met people, looked for teachers, never found a teacher that was willing to teach me. Yeah, I don't know how that all worked out. I then started looking, why are there such extremes with people that call themselves light workers? So I consciously started to look. So I then didn't just stay with looking at what they were doing or their words. If I agreed with them, didn't agree with them, I started looking at where their motivation came from, where the drive came from. And then I looked, that's what made me look inside the human system. From there, I found open doors to sources that gave off information streams. And I realized that even so often, even when they don't realize that they're not free because they're functioning based on specific information streams. So the person themselves may not, that's their truth. And that puts people on opposite sides. Whenever you see that information causes separation, then that is a very big, I better take another look. That's what I found with people. I'm pretty easygoing, so I can work with people and have discussions with people from all kinds of philosophies, all kinds of religions, et cetera, et cetera. And that's where I saw the extreme differences. But I also saw there was not the freedom to openly take a look at another philosophy or a religion. Okay, belief.
Mm-hmm.
There was no opening for that. I am a fan of freedom of choice. But in order to make a choice in freedom, you have to be in freedom. You cannot only see an eighth of what's out there and make a wise choice because you don't know there are other choices. When the person is not aware of all the other choices and therefore cannot present other choices, other streams of thought, that's also an indication that they're not free. In fact, a good sign is acceptance and respect for all streams, because that's an indication that you are actually accepting the concept of one. We're all part of consciousness. So how could you deny the truth of something that is also part of consciousness, of its existence? You
So
really can't. It's not
are you,
logical.
let me try to again like rephrase in my own words like part of what you were saying, because it's impossible to capture it all. Could I also interpret it like this? I find an information source that does not really resonate with me. Nevertheless, it can be beneficial to check it out.
Yes. Because there can be multiple reasons why it doesn't resonate. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad or a lie or even useless.
Mm-hmm.
There are many reasons why something doesn't resonate.
So like one of them could be because I am actually stuck in my way of thinking.
Or not quite there yet.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I was extremely resistant to the word alien. I really was. When I was very young, yeah, I had thoughts of being a good Catholic girl and becoming a nun. And if you want to become a nun, you better not start talking about aliens or even thinking that there were aliens, you see?
Mm-hmm.
So if
you
I
may also have lost some people in the beginning of the video when you mentioned the word, like it still happens. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also up to them. But then that's also closing your mind. See, but it's okay because maybe they'll see someone else on the video and that'll be a good fit. I'm just trying to do my best and share what's come through me. So again, to go back to that, how people, their own experiences can have an effect on whether something resonates or not. If somebody came to me when I was 14 and said there are aliens, I would have told them, like, no way. There's God, and then there's us. I have a different perspective now. I have a greater number of points of reference, not just reference points. A reference point is still very close to point of view. Points of reference is literally being able to step in someone else's shoes, someone else's experience, see what they see, feel what they feel, understand what they understand.
Mhm.
See, that could probably also be a very nice discussion on
Yes,
how to do that. And there are ways. Yes.
yes, there's a lot of content in this video. I find it very hard to like summarize it in any way. So I don't know. I have the feeling like that we've been at it for quite a while already, and that we should try to wrap it up. I don't know if you agree.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the clock and oh my God, it's been an hour, Stefan. Thank you.
Almost an hour, almost an hour. Like, yes. So like, is there some last things that you want to say about this topic?
Oh, I've
Last
already
things.
said so much. I'd like some closing words.
Yes.
Everybody, please try to understand the following words: acceptance and respect. Try to see the greater meaning behind it. Yeah. That was
Okay.
it.
Those are
Thank
nice
you.
ending words. Thank you very much, Inge. Then,
Yep.
well,
Till
we'll speak
next time.
again next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.